We need each other. I need you. You need me.
So, welcome to COVID Conversations with Lady A. But I am so glad to have you here with me. I'm going to introduce each one of these amazing women that have joined this panel discussion. We have Kimberly Horton from Heathrow Music Box Booking Agency out of Jackson, Mississippi. Wave, Kimberly. We have Z Jones from Seattle, Washington, a vocalist here in the city. We have Miss Arietta Ward from Portland, Oregon, another vocalist. We have Darlene Flynn, Director of Race and Social Justice and Equity out of Oakland, California. And then we have Erica Olson, who is one of the talent producers and scouts for the Winthrop Rhythm and Blues Festival that some of us at some part have been a part of and joined in. Thank you, ladies, for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is not a standard interview. So what I'm going to start with is, how are you doing? And you can just chime in. How you doing?
Doing all right so far. Trying not to go crazy with these kids.
How many kids do you have, Z?
Well, I have one here at the house, but my husband has multiple, so we usually have 5 children.
Ooh, in the house at the same time?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, blessed.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow. How are you doing, Kimberly?
I'm doing good, hanging in here, staying busy, keeping moving.
You doing okay there in Jackson?
Jackson, and we're doing fine. We're still hunkered down, of course, but able to get out a little bit, and I'm still doing some work, so doing good.
Right, you still working from home?
I'm hybrid working.
Hybrid working. Okay, I like that. How are you doing, E? Erica, I call her E. That's my nickname for her. How are you doing?
Well, it's a tough question, as you know.
Yeah.
We're having a family member.
Over as much as you want.
I had a family member that was traumatically injured a couple of days ago, so I'm really big person in the music world down in Portland.
Yeah.
And, so I'm, it's hard for me to. I'm grateful and feel privileged to be having a few minutes with you to just sort of connect, and that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you for coming on, because I know it's kind of hard having loved ones when they're in the hospital, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. But let me just get through this, and we'll come back to you. Arietta, how you doing down there in Portland?
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a live stream last night, live stream show. So that's why I'm a little froggish right now.
Oh, that's okay. I
And,
get it.
it was interesting, but we can talk about that later. Besides that, I'm okay. And yeah, it's just been a little bit heavy. Just in general, there's been a few close deaths to me, and then finding out about family member and down here, and he's a beautiful light, and so it's just holding a great intention for people just to get through. So I was glad I was able to sing and get some stuff out.
Darlene, how are you? I'm so happy to see your beautiful face. How are you doing?
I'm good enough. I'm good enough. And sometimes I remember that I'm actually better than. So much to be grateful for, and the family as well. They're in Seattle with you. And so I feel lucky. I feel privileged. I'm hanging in there. The work is hard. The work is hard, especially at this time, to be looking at racial disparities and trying to address them in a time of the COVID-19.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted you to be a part of this panel, so we can talk a little bit. We're going to touch on things. It's a longer conversation than we have in a day, but I really wanted to check in with each one of you. I want to play a little game. and I think I sent it to you. And it's an icebreaker that I love. But I didn't, when I put it on my Facebook page, I didn't know it was going to take on legs the way it did. But it's called I'm Going to Stay in Quarantine Until. And because I'm musical, you know, it takes on a whole musical legs here. So it goes like this. I'm going to stay in quarantine until you need to name the artist and the song. Okay? Got it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stay in quarantine until the Bee Gees tell me it's all right to stay alive. That's how long I'm gonna stay in quarantine. Does anybody else have one?
I'm gonna stay in quarantine until Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway tell me where's the love.
Uh-oh, I like that.
Well, I'm gonna stay in quarantine until somehow or another Marvin Gaye lets me know what's going on.
Amen.
That I had that one. I just wrote that down. I'm tail on that. That's what I was going to say.
Okay.
But what's going on?
What's going on exactly? Do you have one, E?
No, that was my. I just
that
wrote.
was yours. Okay.
So let me find another one.
Be thinking about it, and it doesn't have to be right now. I can come back to you later. Miss Kimberly? No? Okay, we'll come back to you.
A good one. I gotta think of one.
Okay, you think of one. Miss Arietta.
Yeah.
You have one?
Mine was random, but I was like, okay, well, I'm staying quarantined until El DeBarge and his family tell me who is Johnny holding now.
Yes. You know,
I had to make sure I said the words right. I was like,
right. It makes you think.
It's not even Johnny. I'm sorry. It's Donna. Who's holding Donna?
Who's holding Donna now?
I was getting, who's Johnny? That's the. Don't mind me. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. So, ladies, I mean, that's just a game I like to play, and I'm telling you, it took legs of its own when I put it on my page. The other thing I wanted to talk about is a little bit about how you're doing in the music world, and then we're gonna talk about a little bit how that's working out for us here, especially as artists. As far as a booking agent, you know, and you can just chime in whenever you want. I've lost a lot of gigs, and I am blessed to have a job, but my gigs supplemented my income.
Right.
And I never really realized how much I relied on that money until now.
Right.
I've lost a lot of gigs, and it's for safety reasons. So I'm not, you know, I'm like I said, I'm blessed. Some people, they were musicians 24/7. You know, they are musicians 24/7. I just happen to be working. How are you all coping with this? Just chime in, or is it all the same?
It's difficult. It's hard, especially being a booking agency. Of course, it hits the agencies just like it hits the artists, because you all aren't working, we aren't working. So like you, I'm lucky that I got a job to supplement it, and I didn't realize how much that supplemental income meant until it's not there. But it's hard. It's an adjustment, you know, and it's a difficult time, especially because you've got roster mates that are 24/7 musicians. So I really feel for them, because they don't have something to you know, fall back on as you and I do, you know. So it's hard. It's a difficult time. It's a trying time, and it's hurting everybody.
Right. It's hurting. Yeah, it is. It's hurting everybody. Arietta, how are you dealing with it down there in Portland?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So for me, both of my occupations, I am by trade a cosmetology instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at a community college, Mount Hood Community College, and they have a program. So they stayed open, but since there's so much of, person-to-person contact, you have to teach people how to cut. You can try to teach it over, if they're already established and have the basics, then it's fine. But there was newbies, and this was actual hair turn. So they canceled the whole situation for us. So both of my streams were just taken away. But there's been some because I'm part of the faculty out there. They had grants that helped for a little bit, and different artist grants as well. But not even going to talk about the unemployment situation because there was a teeter line in between.
Right.
And I'm still waiting since March.
Yep.
It's
Z,
okay.
how you doing?
So
It's okay with that wait since March. Once they do grant you or accept your application, you get all that back pay.
okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been working with people with their unemployment and they just give it to you in one lump sum. It may take a month, it may take a week, it may take a day, but they will give it all to you from the time that you apply because of this pandemic. And it's a special type of unemployment that you're applying for. It's not the regular unemployment, it's the pandemic.
Right.
And they'll
Okay.
just give it all to you all at once.
That's good to know.
So that's a plus.
Because I didn't know that. Erica, you work with the festival, and you just they just put out that they've canceled the Winthrop Blues Festival. Darlene, I know you've been. We've all gone. That's like my favorite festival of all time. I know it had to be hard for you to have to cancel that. But do you see? Me, I'm always hopeful. How are you feeling about it?
Well, I work intimately with two festivals. So the first festival we canceled was Waterfront Blues Festival, and
Right.
Canceling that before winter, there were different reasons. They're two different animals. One's an 80,000 person one, the 100 acts, and the other's a boutique festival with 3,000 people and 12 acts. But eventually, the result was going to be the same for all events, so to back up a little bit, back in January, I wrote the Washington Festivals and Events when I was watching some of the stuff come across the feed and seeing, getting concerned. And I go, I wonder if we should be talking about this coronavirus thing in our upcoming state conference. And I wrote that on January 30th. And, it was just starting to get rolled, but it was in my mind. But so by the time things really elevated, I was already elevated. And so I became pretty frantic personally. My daughter's a nurse down in Denver and works on the pulmonary floor. She's a young nurse who's been out of school for 2 years. And so I had a lot of things that I was worrying about. And then also these huge festivals that, you spend a lot of time putting together. And, when we announced Waterfront, we got a lot of pushback. We got a lot of support, but we got a lot of pushback because people go, yeah, it's too early. And, there's a lot that goes into, like when you're booking, whether you're an artist that's booking gigs for summer or next year, or you're a talent booker and there's so much that, and there's so much that when you have to take down a festival, I don't know, I'm all over the board. So by the time we got to Winthrop, we have a board of directors and we're a nonprofit. And I had told them in March, I said, I think we're going to have to cancel the festival. I really think you guys need to, and over in Winthrop, they just didn't have a sense of what we're going through up here in Seattle and King County. It's not that they're not in tune, but it's just different over there than it is here. And
they're spread out.
They've had 2 deaths, in the whole Okanagan County, and it's a whole different number. I get all the reports every day, but I think that, I'm a doer and I'm just moving forward and I'm doing all these things. And then you start getting into, okay, well, how do you cancel a festival? For Winthrop, we had, sold half of our tickets already, which is sort of unheard of. And that had happened by March. We're a very successful small festival, but I found a way to make lemonade out of lemon. And because we're a nonprofit, and because the board agreed that this might be a cool thing to do, is that we offered our ticket buyers a refund which was not, we don't do refunds. A lot of festivals, you'll say that, you can use your ticket next year, but we don't know what next summer is going to look like. I can honestly tell you, I don't know if I'm in the event business, and I don't think that we'll be able to do festivals next summer. And that's coming from me, from what I'm looking at.
Right.
Or if we are, it's going to be half, the amount of people. But anyways, we offered people the opportunity to get a refund and/or they could donate a portion or all of their ticket. And it has been amazing, so that we could give a blues stimulus to the artists that were booked this year.
Right.
And the generosity, it's still, we're still working through that, but we're going to be able to give some small grants to people who were booked this year, and then also to the Cove Food Bank, which is our Valley food bank over there. So that's something that's really cool that's come out of it. I mean, amongst all
I have a
the
question. I have a question. So this question will go to Darlene about what you're talking about. So Darlene, do you see, because we all know festivals are going to be different next year, and we're all music lovers that are on here. So festivals, like you say, are going to look different. But do you see any difference in how people react? Because like you said, Pete, you can't believe the generosity of some people. But I've seen some festivals where people were actually like pissed off, because either the festival was canceled, or they didn't think they were going to get their money back, or they're being asked to give to musicians. How's it working in Oakland? How are you? Because I know you go to festivals in Oakland. How's that working out?
Well, I've not gotten any word yet on the usual festivals here. The ones I go to tend not to be as big. And so I think people are able to wait a little bit longer. California has a lot of outdoor festivals in the summer, little small ones in Hayward, California. And you can kind of buzz around to these great blues and jazz festivals and just drop in. And I suspect none of them are going to be able to happen this year. I think people, though, in general, I'm noticing that in general, people's generosity is coming out, not in every single case, but more often than not, you can almost count on it. There's a real generosity of spirit and a volunteerism that's going on here, and a recognition, particularly in Oakland, where we have such a high level of poverty and people who are struggling, that it's not even about the entertainment. It's about how can we make sure that people are surviving and that they're not going hungry, and that they have the PPE they need to protect themselves, the masks that they need to stay safe, and that they have alternatives should they become affected, and to be able to isolate from their families, because housing is so expensive here. We have a lot of people living on top of each other. So, people are really, really focused on trying to figure out how to make sure that we're taking care of each other in a more basic way. And I don't see people worrying so much about themselves, even though we're sad. I mean, I'm sad to think about a summer here with no outdoor music festivals, because Tim and I, we did it a lot, because they just go on. The weather's so good here, and you can just throw a festival at the drop of a hat. But I think that we're sad about that, but it's not what we're spending most of our energy on, because there's so many other more serious and challenging and immediate things going on for musicians, and also just workers that are losing their jobs and waiting for unemployment or the stimulus check. And so I think that there's been a real sense of pulling together. And I know it's not everybody, I know it's not, but it's a lot. It's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, because think about it. We as women tend to be the strong part of the family. We always try to be really strong. And anybody can answer this. I'm just going to speak for me. I've had some teary days where I just woke up, or I was just sitting, and all of a sudden just started crying. And then I was thinking, why am I crying? I have a roof over my head. I have gas in my car. I have food. Why am I crying? But then it is self-care. It's okay to cry, and it's okay to be upset. You guys will have to unmute your phones, because unmute because I can't hear you, but please, I don't know if anybody else has felt this way, but I sure have. It comes and it goes. You know, I just don't stay there, but I let it happen now. I had to actually talk to somebody about it, about the fact. Kimberly, did you have something you wanted to say?
I've had a few of those. I mean, it's just the unknowing, the uncertainty. I mean, even though, yes, we are blessed, we have roofs over our heads, we're able to eat, we have gas in our cars, it's still just the not knowing, the not being able to, and a lot of it, I guess you could say we're like kids, not being able to do what we want to do or what we're used to.
Yeah.
You know, it really boils down to be a pot of frustration. So if you have to cry to release the frustration, then cry to release the frustration. I mean, but it's scary. We don't know. I mean, because I think, you know, I think fun is over for 2020. You know, I think it's over for 2020, and I think that, you know, when you sit down and you look at the reality of it and you think about the what ifs or what could, or, you know, the if I woulda, coulda, shoulda, it's a scary feeling. It's a very scary feeling. So it's okay to cry about it, because I mean, what else can you do to release, you know?
Well, I mean, there are other things, like I told, I mean, like Darlene was saying, there are, you know, as much as being an artist, as I love singing to people and everything, there are other things that we can do. You know, I used to go out and feed the homeless and everything. Well, of course I can't do that now, or at least I don't feel like I can do that now, because I need to make sure that my mom is safe, because my mom is older. So I can't be around her if I'm going around people that haven't been tested, or, you know, it's that scary feeling, you know, that we get. But I started a sidewalk ministry where I go sing to seniors. I call it a sidewalk senior thing, where I go do it because I live stream my church on Sunday. There's only 5 of us in the building and we're distancing. But are you finding things that will make you happy? Because I don't want the joy to go out of my life. I've had friends pass away from the COVID. I've had friends who've had the COVID. I've had friends who are dealing with health issues, being people of color, being Black people, being people of color that are having health issues and not being treated fairly. But I cannot let that steal my joy. So are any of you finding things that you can do that brings joy to somebody else, that in turn? I know you do, because I know you. Arietta, Darlene, Z, E.
Well, what I've been doing with my free time, it's actually so like this whole pandemic is new/old, because in August, I to focus on music completely. So when the pandemic hit, it was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to feed these kids? Because Dad's a musician also. So but what I've done is I just started focusing more on my writing. I'll have writing sessions with friends. I've been going into the studio and recording more. It frees up more time for me to actually be creative and share what I'm going through right now. So.
Good. Anybody else?
Well, I'm really lucky because I am actually working from home, and I'm continuing to work with other city staff on trying to address the impacts of structural racism, which are really up in the pandemic. And so we hold on to each other, we strategize, we're working on various aspects of the city's response in different teams across the city, and we're supporting each other to stay hopeful and to stay motivated even in what seems like a really dark hour for our people, that we can do something. And whatever we can do, we must do. And so we are staying busy in that way and staying focused on, again, those who are most impacted by this crisis. You know, the frontline workers and the people of color and the service workers and the people who live in compromised conditions that make it hard for them to stay healthy. So it's been a real, it has given me joy to be able to continue to try to make a difference in the world. And I think that that's always key. It's like your sidewalk ministry. If you can find that way to bring a little bit of hope or service or joy to someone else, it takes your mind off of your own loss. And I want to just second that tears come often because we're experiencing loss. This is loss. We're losing a way of life and an opportunity to express ourselves in the way that we normally do. And that's actually really important to human beings, it turns out. So there's a reason to feel sad, but there's also a reason to reach for hope. So
thank you, Darlene. She always inspires me. I miss her now that she does not live in Seattle anymore, but I'm so happy to have this opportunity to talk to you ladies. We could go on, and I do have more questions, but I'm going to ask this one question of all of you, because since we have been quarantined, I have been having the weirdest dreams. And I'm a person who does not dream, or I don't remember my dreams when I sleep. But of course, being in quarantine, you sleep more. At least I do. At first, it was hard to sleep. Now I find myself a little more comfortable in my sleep. I have the weirdest dreams. Like I woke up, I thought that I was hanging out with my producer, John, and my daughter, Queen, and Tim and Michelle. And I literally woke myself up laughing. And I've done it a couple of times. It's been the weirdest dream. Is anybody else experiencing any weird dreams? Because that's weird for me. I mean, I laugh, anyway, but I got weird dreams going on that I remember. See?
I finally had my first dream. You know how mama and grandma always tell you, oh, I had a dream about fish last night. I had a dream that I went to the daggone casino and won $5,000 and they paid me in fish.
Oh. Y'all can unmute your phones. I mean, that is hilarious. That's a good one. I'm telling you, they're weird COVID dreams. I've talked to some other people about them, and there have been some weird ones come out. Anybody else want to share?
I actually saw a news article that they're doing a study, and when there are disasters, people have weird dreams.
Really?
That's very common. Will start to dream more and they'll start to have strange dreams. So there's actually a research project going on where they're researching what kinds of dreams people are having because it's an interesting topic. I don't remember my dream much, but a lot of people are having your experience.
Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't sleep very much enough, so I don't sleep enough to dream, but I have a couple of friends that are saying, God, I just had the weirdest dream. I'm just, many people have said that. So.
Yeah.
I usually dream, but I haven't been dreaming this. I have been dreaming actually a lot about my mom.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, she's just chilling. We do different things, but no. A lot of bees in my dream. I've been having a lot of bees.
Okay.
Yes. Bees.
We need a dream interpreter.
Google.
Dreaming about bees. That means your mind. It has to mean that your mind is super busy because none of our minds are going to sleep when we go to sleep. So the bees have to be
just busy.
Something is.
Well, I want to thank every one of you for being a part of this panel. I'd like to be able to talk to you again sometime soon. I do have a panel coming up on race in Seattle. That ought to be a good one. Darlene, I'd love for you to be a part of that if you will.
Okay. I'd really like that.
Okay, yeah, it's going to be coming, and there are going to be people from across the country, all right, white, black, and different ages. Roz, who's the producer of this, came up, she, for whatever reason, thinks I'm good at this, and came up with an idea about, we were talking about the Ahmaud Arbery situation, and since then the Bonita Taylor, I believe is her last name, situation, the killing of Black people is like really spiking lately, it seems, and we were talking about our different experiences according to our age. And that was something I had never thought about before, except when I talk to young people about racism. They have a totally different outlook on racism than I do at 62, as my play daughter Queen does at 37. But so it's gonna be a really good conversation. We wanna hear people's experiences and then relate those experiences, white, Black, Native American, Asian. I've got people from all over the spectrum. So Darlene, I'm gonna ask you to be a part of that. If any of you would like to be a part of it, please send me an email, let me know. I don't know how many people I can put on Zoom, but I'm gonna find out. It'll be a good conversation because I think that kindness and love begins with communication. We have to be able to talk to each other. I love you ladies, each and every one of you. Erica, I'm praying for you. We're praying for Portland, Arietta, Kimberly, Z. Thank you so much, Darlene. You know, I love each and every one of you. Have a blessed rest of your week. Call me anytime, day or night. I love you. Bye-bye.
We need each other. I need you. You need me.
I know you love me, but you really don't give a damn. I know you want me, but I need to see exposed hands. Why are you lying to me? I need to know the truth, cause now I have my proof. Out there laying up with your friends, then you're coming home wondering. Let's go back to the start. Yeah, you know that part. While you're laying your head in my bed, and you're saying that we're just friends. Exposure's what we'll do. Exposure. Exposing all of you to exposure. Exposure's what we'll do. Exposure. I know you love me, but you really don't give a damn. I know you want me, but I need to see exposed hands. Why are you lying to me? I know you love me, but you really don't give a damn. I know you want me, but I need to see exposed hands. Yeah. So yes, my name is Z of Omega. Thanks.